This is Drew here, ready to talk about race nutrition. So I'm 2 weeks out, less than 2 weeks out from Ironman 70.3 Texas, and I thought this was a good opportunity to kind of talk about race nutrition with y'all. I know that it's towards the end of the season, so it might seem like a weird time, but actually it's the perfect time because this is something you want to experiment with during your training. You don't want race day to be the first time you're trying a new fuel source. So during this video, I want to talk about sort of the purpose of race nutrition, as well as how much we should be consuming, of what type of macronutrients, and then where we can find some of those sources. And at the end of this video, I'll go ahead and show you guys some of the sources that I've been experimenting with. So the purpose of race nutrition is to nourish your body so that it can perform at its highest quality during race day. Okay, so nourishing means we need to give it fuel and the nutrients that it needs to perform at its best. So how much should we consume? What we want to do is we want to add up our pre-race meal and our calories that we'll be consuming during the race or during the event. And those should equal about the same as the amount of calories you're going to burn during that event. So here's an example. Let's say you have a 3-hour race, either a bike race, maybe it's a triathlon, and you've calculated that you're going to burn about 1,000 calories. So we want to take roughly 40% of those calories and have those in our pre-race meal if our stomach can handle something like that. And I would say you'd want that meal anywhere from 2 to 4 hours before the event. Then you take your remaining calories that you have left over. For this example, it would be 600 calories. Divide that by the duration of the event, so 3 hours in this case, and you have 200 calories per hour. Now, I want to bring attention to something here. This is a process goal. Finding the right race nutrition is a process. It's going to take time, and it's very individualistic. So there's no secret recipe or no golden rule. You need to find out what works best for you. And so we're going to need to start small. So when it comes to this stuff, if you've calculated that you need 2, maybe 3, maybe even 400 calories an hour, it's not something you jump right into. It's not first day out, go grab 400 calories, stuff your face within the first 15 minutes and see what happens. I would start with 50 to 100 calories and work your way up and see how your body responds. Because this isn't only a behavioral change, it's also a physiological change. And if your body's not used to intaking calories, it may not react very well. You might get bloated, muscle or stomach cramps, or even diarrhea. So what sort of fuel do we want to take in when we're talking about these calories from pre-race and our nutrition during the race? So most of our calories need to come from carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is the main fuel that your body's going to use while you're performing your event. So what kind of sources of fuel can we use? Basically, it falls into 2 categories. You have your liquid sources and then you have your solid sources. And after this video, I'll show you again some examples of either one, but there are some things to consider. So the first thing is, what is going to make sense logistically? So if, for example, if you're a mountain biker and you had a very technical course, it might not make sense for you to reach in your back pocket, grab a power bar, open it up, and chew on it. Or if it's a high intensity race or event, it also might be pretty hard to chew food while you're breathing hard. Some people just find it easier to use liquid. You can mix it in with your water bottles and you should be good to go. But if there's a cold environment, you might find that it's actually pretty hard to drink that much liquid. And you might find that you have to pee a lot during your race, which can be uncomfortable. So again, the purpose is we want to nourish our bodies so that we can have the highest quality performance on race day. We need to calculate how much energy we're going to burn during that race, and we need to split that up between our pre-race workout or pre-race meal and the nutrition we'll be taking in during the event. And remember, for somebody that's doing a triathlon, you're not going to be able to count that time in the water because you're not going to be able to consume calories while you're swimming, obviously. And then you're probably going to consume most of your calories during the bike event and maybe a little bit less during the run event, depending on who you are. And lastly, guys, I can't stress this enough, start small. Start with 100 calories per hour, and then kind of work your way up to whatever your race goal is or your event goal is. And now what I'm going to do is show you guys some of the different liquid and some of the different solid carbohydrate choices that I've been using. Alrighty guys, as promised, I'm showing you some of the things that I've been using, both liquid and solid, for my fuel sources, things I've been experimenting with. So on the right side, we have all of our liquid sources. So we got Skratch Labs. That's a hydration drink mix. It's packing 80 calories per serving with 21 grams coming from carbohydrates, and its sources sugarcane and dextrose. And then behind that, we have Science and Sport. This one I actually really like. It's 150 calories. And it's 36 grams coming from carbohydrates, and its sources are maltodextrin and fructose, which is what I prefer. And then we have your typical Gatorade that's 90 calories per serving. There's 2 servings in that little pack. There's 23 grams per serving. And you're going to get that source of carbohydrates from sucrose, maltodextrin, and fructose. And then lastly, I have the GU Energy, or Liquid Energy. This is 96 calories. And 23 grams from carb. And it also contains some caffeine in it. This one in particular has 200 milligrams of caffeine per serving. And that source of carb is also maltodextrin and fructose. So it's the same as your Science and Sport. For the solids, we have a couple different waffles. They're both about 140 to 150 calories, packing like 20 to 21 grams of carbohydrates, and that's going to be coming from some simple syrups. Skratch Labs also has some energy chews. Those are 70 calories per serving, and there's 2 servings in that pack. So you're getting 36 grams of carbohydrates total, and that's coming from a syrup as well. And then a very popular one is your Clif Blocks, those little energy chews, and those are 100 calories per serving. And so that stick right there is 2 servings. So you're getting 200 calories, and that's 48 grams of carbohydrates. And this is coming from sucrose, maltodextrin, and some syrup. So again, these are what I've been using, guys. I prefer more on the liquid side, but I do get a little sick of drinking my calories, so I try to change it up with some energy blocks. So far, things are working great for me. I haven't had any stomach issues, and like I said, I started small. I started at 100 calories per hour, and I've worked my way up to 350 calories per hour, which is what I needed to get to for my 70.3.